This is Vegan Freak Radio number 107 for the Cinco de Mayo, 2009.
Coming to you from high atop their elite fortress of moral superiority, here are your protein-deficient hosts, Bob and Jenna.
Hey everybody, this is Bob.
And Jenna.
And we're back again at some point or another for another edition of Vegan Freak Radio. Welcome.
We are still alive for those of you who are wondering.
We are indeed. So sorry for our long absence, but life has been very busy for us lately. Hectic indeed. And we've been trying to do this show for a little while now, but the dog's been going bonkers.
They have. It's springtime, so we have the windows open and they hear everything that goes on outside and bark at it.
Well, that and Mole thinks it's time to play Frisbee.
It's after dinner's time to play Frisbee, not now.
After our dinner,
yes,
it's time to play Frisbee, and not after his dinner. So he thinks it's time to play Frisbee. But we already took a run today, and we already played Frisbee today. And he wants to play Frisbee again. Oh, yeah. So anyway, we're here to do a quick show for you because we realize we haven't done a show in a very long time, and we apologize for that. We like to do shows more often, but our life has been pretty busy.
It has been. We've been writing.
We've been writing. Second edition of Vegan Freak is coming in the fall.
Yes.
Writing and revising and all that crap. What else, Jenna?
We've been packing.
This
is the last show from the northern elite fortress.
That's right. We are relocating the entire elite fortress of moral superiority to a completely different area. This is Operation Flee Rural America. Operation Get the Fuck Out of Crazyville.
Yes.
And we are getting the fuck out. We are moving to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the city where I grew up, was born and raised. Philly. Listen, a lot of people say they're from Philadelphia. You're not, unless you were born there. Right?
In the city, not in
Bucks County. I'm from Philadelphia, okay? So I'm moving back there. I spent 18 years living there, and then I left. And for some reason, I don't understand why. I was in high school, like, I had a good time. I used to go out all the time, and I had, like, tons of things to do. And I was almost never bored, right? Mm-hmm. And then I left, and I went to college in the middle of Pennsylvania.
In the middle of nowhere.
And then I left and went to grad school in the middle of upstate New York, in the middle of nowhere.
And then we moved even further in the middle of nowhere.
And then I left graduate school, and we moved even further up to the middle of nowhere.
But this time it's even colder.
It's way cold. In the middle of nowhere. You're getting the recurring theme here. And so I'm starting to think, why? Why, Bob? Why would you move to the middle of nowhere, you complete blubbering idiot? Why would you do such a thing?
Good question. But now we are fleeing. It is time.
Indeed we are.
Back to civilization and the city.
There you go.
Yes.
So that's what we're doing, and that's part of why we have been so insane. It's hard to move. It's a pain in the butt. We had to sell our house, and we did, I think. So
cross your fingers.
Yeah. We got an offer after 10 days on the market, so it was an amazing thing.
Uh-huh.
And so that's what's going on with us, in case you were wondering.
It's a lot, yeah. Moving, your entire house to a different state, not fun.
No.
A lot of stuff to do.
There is.
But good.
Indeed, it is good. So anyway, that's where we've been. So what we want to do is, before we get into the show, we just have a kind of a quick show for you, just to let you know, like, we're still alive and still doing the show. I think a lot of people worry unnecessarily. We get emails sometimes, and we've made it harder to contact us because we're really horrible at writing back to email. So there's only so many hours in the day, and I just can never really get back to emails. It's very hard. But anyway, we get emails sometimes that are like, have this kind of tone to them of, man, I hope you're not done doing that. And we're not. Mm-mm. So it's just that sometimes we just get way too overwhelmed. And doing a show, it's like, you might think, well, who the fuck doesn't have an hour to sit down during a week and do a show? It's a reasonable question to ask. However, doing a show requires a little more than just an hour of free time. It's an hour of free time where you need to be awake and ready and with it and like totally on the ball and into doing public speaking. Because really, it's public speaking, right?
Right.
So you have to be on the ball, ready to do it.
Exactly. And not to mention all the prep work and stuff that we try to put in it. So,
Yeah, except for today.
except for today. We did some. We have stuff to talk about.
Indeed, we do.
So,
We do. Although this show is less well scripted and choreographed than our normal content. So anyway, after we move, this is our we're going to do the show now. We'll have another show in about a month, because it's going to be about a month before we can get everything set up again. Once we dismantle our studio, it's going to take me a month to figure out how to put it back together.
yeah.
No, I'm serious.
There's an
man.
awful lot of wires back there.
Well, the wires don't worry me. The wires are pretty straightforward. It's all of the knobs that I have to twiddle. Yeah,
Twiddle your knobs.
Well, I'm twiddling. I'm tweaking mine. I mean,
Can I twiddle your knobs?
Oh, yeah, baby. You can tweak my nipple. Yeah, anyway. So it'll be about a month before we get back on the ball. But when we get back, we have a change coming up in the way that we do the show. And that change is as follows. Right now, we have a subscription plan, $5 a month. Anybody can sign up. You get access to all of the shows that we've ever done, all 100 and...
7 of them?
Well, there's more than 107 because there's subscriber shows.
Subscriber shows. Right.
So you get access to all 100 plus shows, 110 plus shows, really, I think it is, and all that. Anyone can do that now. What we're going to do is, I think from now on, we're going to do 1 free show a month. And then I think during that same month, we're going to try to do 2 more, or maybe even 3 more, but probably 2 more private shows. So anyone who's a subscriber will get 3 or 4 shows a month. Non-subscribers get 1 show a month. That's what we're going to do from here on out, starting in June.
Yes.
So there you go. So everybody should know that. You're going to be once a month. Basically, it's going to be the same for most people. Subscribers are just going to get more.
Yeah.
So we'll be back in about a month after that. Now, before we get into the show, a couple things I want to say very quickly. Joe Metal from IRC and our forums asked me to mention the URL inatheistbus.org. Right? There's they're trying to buy bus ads, atheist bus ads in Indiana. And, really, I can't imagine a better thing to do with your money than to piss off Christian fundamentalists in Indiana. inatheistbus.org. So there you go. Check out inatheistbus. I think it is. I think I have that URL right. I checked it. There it is. inatheistbus.org. Okay, so that's that. Other quick things. We have a Facebook group. We have Facebook forums. Vegan Freak fan shit you can do on Facebook. Go search for it. Whatever. You'll find it. And there's always me on Twitter. I am Vegan Freak, and Jenna is...
Pleather.
There you go. So you can follow us on Twitter if you want. Now, where now, Jenna?
Let's do some tweets. Do we
All
have
right.
any?
We do. Do we ever have tweets?
Okay.
I'm looking for my little tweet noise. Oh,
That was
fucking
loud.
Tweets. Okay, we have one from Beckany. She says, looked at my VFF profile recently and realized I've been listening to you for 3 years. You guys help me go vegan and stay vegan.
Nice.
Woo woo. Yay. And I'm glad you're not eating.
Happy meat.
There you go. No happy meat. Okay. She says, keep up the good work. You guys do make a difference.
Aw.
Well, that's very nice to hear.
Thank you.
Because as I will talk about in a moment, sometimes people are like, all static, man. All static.
Not harsh and you mellow.
They're harsh and are mellow, man. They can, That's how it goes. From Ryan McMichael, we received a tweet. Ryan over at vegblog.org says, for the show, is the tofu in your fridge moldy? Jenna, did you read that email I sent you?
No.
Oh my God.
You didn't send it to me. It was blank.
It was blank?
Yeah.
Oh, email fail on my part.
Yeah.
I suck. Okay, Ryan sent us an email saying that he had a dream about us.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He originally had sent me a little tweet saying, I had a dream about you. And I said, wow, well, cool. Whatever I did to you in the dream, I hope you enjoyed it. But anyway, he sent us his email. And basically, it's like a dream. He showed up at our house. For some reason. I can't remember every single little tiny detail, but he showed up at our house. And he came into our house and I'm totally going to flood this, but what it boils down to is he came into our house and we were feeding him something. And so you pulled tofu out of the fridge to feed him and you're like, oh, I'm really sorry. That might be moldy or something. And he looks at it and it was all moldy. And it was like, okay, so Ryan had a dream about us, moldy tofu involved.
No.
Ryan, we'd never feed you moldy tofu.
No, I would not. We have tofu, but it's not moldy. So
the tofu in my fridge, or is this, actually, this is probably some kind of secret signal from the CIA. Okay. So, Katrina says, She probably listened to Fresh Air the other day. She says chocolate, peanut butter, and other foods can have a certain amount of insects by the FDA, but it's not listed. Is it still vegan? Okay, let me begin with a quick story for you if you weren't listening to Fresh Air from WHYY in Philadelphia. Sorry, for those of you that do not live inside the United States and or do not listen to NPR, you won't get that. But for those of you who do, just chuckle and make me feel better, okay? Anyway, the other day I was listening to Fresh Air, but only I was like driving around and I was just flipping through the radio and I couldn't really find anything. So I listened to a little bit of Fresh Air. And it caught my attention because the guy was talking about cockroaches. And what he was saying, he was an entomology professor. I don't listen to 5 minutes ago. I think he was an entomology professor in Montana. But anyway, he's saying that one of his colleagues, after years and years of entomology labs, and for those of you who don't know, I don't mean to like assume anyone's dumb or anything, but entomology is about the study of insects, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway, entomology labs often use cockroaches for a variety of things. And I've taken entomology in college, and yes, indeed, we did have like giant Moroccan hissing cockroaches in our lab and all this. I mean, these are cockroaches that are really, if you hold your hand out in front of you, like you're going to smack yourself in the face, they're like as big as your palm. Mm-hmm. And like your middle, they go up almost as like to where your middle, they're huge. Okay. Anyway, you do have to occasionally handle cockroaches. So this guy, his colleague had taught, teaching these entomology labs for years and years and years, handling cockroaches, and developed a severe allergy to them. And in that time of developing the severe allergy, he ended up becoming allergic to things that he thought he would never become allergic to. And one of the things that they found that he was allergic to was coffee. So very odd, right? Why would someone be allergic to coffee? Well, turns out he was only allergic to ground coffee because apparently there are ground up roaches in coffee.
That's gross.
Yeah. Well, what he said, what the entomologist said, and I actually know this to be true because I remember studying this stuff in food science when I was in college. I was an ag science major. I had to take food science courses. So I do really remember this stuff. Peanut butter, as Katrina pointed out here, peanut butter is a big one. Anyway, because of the way these foods are both stored and harvested, it is sometimes difficult or impossible to keep every single insect out of them. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
So coffee is one of those. The bugs get into the coffee. Where they grind the coffee. There's just insects around. So the insects, they can't possibly pull every single roach out of a ton of coffee. So some roaches get ground up in with the coffee, and that's how it goes.
And same thing happens with chocolate.
And chocolate is another one that is full of roaches.
Basically, the same thing could happen with any processed foods.
Sure.
Really?
But, yeah. Well, actually, I don't know what the law is anymore, but when I was studying this stuff, there is a certain allowable amount of byproduct, whether it's like, mouse balls or, I don't know, roach legs or whatever kind of crap you can, animal and insect parts, right? Usually insects is what it comes down to, not usually animals, but it's usually insects that can be present in processed foods. And the USDA has an allowable limit. It usually goes by weight or things like that. So, when you're drinking ground coffee, it's so that you're not drinking, 83% cockroach and 17% coffee. Okay. So anyway, cut to the chase. Do you think this is vegan?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's vegan in the way it's produced necessarily, but
But here's the thing. In your daily life, no matter what you do, you're going to be killing insects. Mm-hmm. Whether you are growing your own vegetables and pulling them out of the ground, you're killing insects. Whether you're driving, you're killing insects. When you walk, you kill insects. When you could suck one in when you breathe.
Sure.
You're killing insects. You buy food from the store, you've killed insects. So we can try to avoid, if you see an insect in your home, you can move it outside instead of stepping on it.
That's reasonable.
However, you can't avoid doing these kinds of things in your daily life.
Sure.
Unfortunately, it sucks, but that's how it goes. And so trying to avoid things, I mean, you can maybe, not eat any processed foods, but you're still killing insects.
Well, even if you don't eat foods that are processed, if you eat rice or things like that, I'm sure that they're allowable parts of
and
insects
I'm sure
and that stuff.
Plenty of people have gotten, any produce from the grocery store.
Sure.
It's got dead bugs in it.
I know organic produce we've had has had dead bugs in it. So, but we're not eating the bugs, right? We wash them out.
We wash them out, yeah, but still.
But in general, my feeling on this and in general with veganism is that there are certain aspects of veganism that I don't think are necessarily contradictory. It's just a matter of that we live in a world in which certain things are done for the sake of cost of production. I don't necessarily agree with those things, but I think that because of the way the world is set up, on occasion we don't have the pleasure of purity. If you have to take medication, you don't have the pleasure of purity because all medication in the United States and probably in many other countries has been tested on animals. Mm-hmm. So people write to us sometimes and say, my God, I have like I have like I don't know, think of some horrible disease.
Actually, this is going to come up in one of the voicemails later.
Okay, so we can just leave it for that?
Yeah.
All right, we'll leave it for that then. All right, but anyway, the point is that we'll return to this point later. But what I'm saying is that we live in a world where we don't always have control over all of these aspects. And in fact, the structure of society and the structure of production are such that we can't make the best possible vegan choices. That, you can't possibly buy coffee that doesn't have perhaps some bug parts in it. You can't buy peanut butter that perhaps doesn't have some bug parts in it. And that's the way it goes. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how life is sometimes. I don't think it's a compelling reason not to consume these products because the levels are obviously not unsafe for you to consume. And it happens. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it.
Exactly.
So I'm sure a lot of you will be upset with me and angry about that, but you can go fuck yourselves. I'm done holding back.
Yep.
Fuck
okay, good.
Okay. Denise writes in and says, the family and I appreciate all you do for the cause. Well, thank you. Question, what is your and Jenna's favorite junky snack food? I know my answer immediately.
What?
Potato chips.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
Yep.
What is my favorite junky snack food? I don't know. I think probably if I'm going to have like a junk snack food, it'll be potato chips or pretzels.
I love potato chips and pretzels. Mm-hmm. So I know it's really boring.
It is.
But I don't eat either of them that often. No. So
in the past I probably would have gone for the sweets, but not anymore.
Yeah, I kind of lost my taste for really sweet things.
Me too. Like if I occasionally will have something really sweet and it'll be like shocking to me. It'll be like, wow, because we just don't eat sugar that much anymore. So
there you go. Mark Love and I were having a back and forth prior, and it is in the queue here. So it says, can I be Darth Vader and you be Emperor Palpatine? Sounds a little kinky, but that's not how it was. Plus, Darth Vader's way cooler, and I don't want to be Dick Cheney. So, now Palpatine's not like Dick Cheney, is he? I don't remember.
I don't know.
Okay. How many more of these do you want to do?
Let's do one more, and then we'll move on to something else and come back to the other tweets.
All right. Well, I'm sorry. What did you say?
Let's do one more tweet.
Yes.
We'll go do something else, and then come back and do tweets again.
Okay.
How's that?
That sounds good.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
What?
I was multitasking.
Okay.
And doing it poorly. The next question, which is one that strikes me as one that would come from someone who had probably never listened to our show, which is okay. It's good. We want new listeners. The question is from Vegan One. What do you feel is a good and bad form of activism? For example, do you feel PETA's KFC protests are hurting or benefiting the cause?
Go back and listen to a couple episodes prior. Or just about any episode, really.
I think PETA's KFC protests are really dumb on a number of levels. And I can't even... There's so many ways in which it's wrong. So many different ways. I mean... Don't even get me started on PETA and then everybody gets all their, gets their undergarments all caught up in their crack and gets upset with me. But I think PETA is extremely counterproductive. So if you want to know why I think PETA is extremely counterproductive, Chapter 4 of Making a Killing, go read it. I think I posted it on the web a while ago.
Mm-hmm. Plus we did talk about the KFC specifically one show.
Yeah, and
I forget what.
I'm sure it's
in the notes somewhere.
But I'm sure it's also still one of the shows that's available.
Definitely.
We have 20 of our most recent shows available.
It's got to be in one of the last 20.
I'm pretty sure it's in one of the last 20. So go check our website, veganfreakradio.com. All right, we'll come back to a couple more of these in a moment. Oh, my God. There's so many. There's so many. Okay, what are we doing now? Voicemail?
How about, sure.
What
Either that or the meat makes you stupid.
Yeah, let's do meat makes you stupid segment. Now, someone sent this to me, and I cannot remember who it is, so I apologize. If it's you, pat yourself on the back.
Happy meat.
It's what real women need.
Okay, this article is entitled No Meat in Subway Complaint, and it's from a website called stuff.co.nz. So, I'm sure it's from one of our listeners in that general area, probably.
Wonderful.
New Zealand, Australia? Okay, anyway, it says, on top or underneath, does it really matter? Yes, if you believe a disgruntled Subway customer who has complained that the fast food giant's television advertisement promoting its new smoked chicken supreme with bacon and avocado sandwich is misleading. They misrepresent their sandwiches as they always show the meat on top and the salad on the bottom, but when you buy a Subway sandwich, they always put on the meat first, grumbled the customer in a formal complaint to Advertising Standards Authority. Such complaints provide a steady diet of issues for the authority to chew on. So apparently other cases include one called Tip Top's Flip to Win competition, which contained a large image of a handheld trumpet ice cream with a bite taken from it, revealing a pink jelly tip center among the ice cream and chocolate chips. A woman complained to the authority that within the image was what could only be described as a pink penis, which she found offensive. So, they have these things on like packages and commercials. Is like, does not represent actual food item, or not,
right.
Or like on the big bag of tortilla chips we have downstairs, not actual size.
It's like a giant.
I hope my
chip.
tortilla chips aren't that big, and I wonder like why they put these things, and that's why.
I like when there are bags and they say like serving suggestion, like
right.
and it's a bag of tortilla chips and there's like salsa on it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think there's salsa in this bag. Okay, not much we can do about how dumb people are.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. I think there's one constant in humanity, and the constant is human stupidity.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So what else? That's all. What?
That's it?
Well, that's all we have for Meat Makes You Stupid.
Yeah.
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 Can I talk about one other thing?
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if this is a Meat Makes You Stupid segment, but I think it's a Cheese Makes You Stupid segment. When was this? Last week or the week before, we redid our website, veganfreak.com, and I posted a couple little blog entries here and there, and I'm going to be posting more as time goes on. And I posted an excerpt from the book because someone left a comment on one of the pages saying something like, actually she said, her name is Jenny in Las Vegas. Hello, I love your podcast. I'm really struggling with becoming a vegan. I love cheese so much. After a beer or two at the pub, nothing is better than some nachos or potato skins. I know it's wrong, but I still eat cheese. I can't seem to reconcile my own love for cheese and wanting to become a vegan. How do I take cheese out of my diet? Sincerely, Jenny. Now, this is a question we get all the time. Mm-hmm. How do I give up cheese? It's like, I don't know why it's so hard, but a lot of people have a really hard time. Well, I kind of have an idea why it's so hard, but anyway. So I posted an excerpt from our book because we always get asked about giving up cheese. People always write and say this, and they always want to know. So I thought, you know what? Rather than trying to write this thing again, I'm just going to take this part of the book and post it to a blog entry. It's relatively straightforward. There's nothing controversial in this as far as I could tell. I think it is one of the most straightforward things anywhere for vegans, okay? So what I say is that really, when it comes down to it, that we were perplexed about why it was so hard for people to give up cheese, and it is because we read up on casomorphins. They're little opioid chemicals that are present in cow's milk. They're present in cheese, and evolutionarily, these little peptides probably had as their original function of creating a positive association between the calf and their mother for milking, for breastfeeding.
Sure.
Okay, so there's some sense to it. Now, what happens is you have humans consuming the same milk, and they're consuming it in very large quantities, some people. Mm-hmm. And so there is a theory out there. I didn't say that it was entirely 100% proven, but there's a theory out there that, that humans have some kind of physiological response to these chemicals, these compounds. In other words, they're becoming mildly addictive to cheese. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know, I obviously don't know if it's true or not, but if you look at the anecdotal evidence that we have of people writing into us constantly saying, I can't give up cheese. Cheese is so hard to give up. I want to give up cheese and I can't. I seem to think that maybe there is something here, right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, I read about this and I say, you're not going to have DTs or seizures if you give up cheese, but really the way to give up cheese is to stop eating it right away. Don't trail it off, because if you're going to give up something that you are even mildly addicted to, I think you got to stop doing it right away.
You got to stop doing it, yeah.
That's the only way to do it. And then I said, if you feel like eating cheese, remind yourself of a couple things, right? That cheese is made from milk, and milk almost always contains pus, right? And of course, the pus is pasteurized, and certainly pasteurization will prevent you becoming ill from it, but you're still essentially eating, cells that come from infections and cow udders. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people think, no, that's not possible. No, it couldn't possibly be, and all that. And technically it shouldn't be. When a cow has an infection in her teats or in her udder, her milk should be segregated. Mm-hmm. But usually that's not the case unless it's really, really bad. So there is a certain level of these immune cells, pus, in milk, okay? You can't get around it. Now, look, you can sterilize a dog shit and eat it if you want, mm-hmm. right? But you're still eating dog shit, and I'm saying you're still eating pus. So I say this in the blog entry. Cheeses, I say that a lot of cheeses aren't vegetarian, that they contain rennet, and rennet comes from the stomach, often comes from the stomach of mammals, and it's used to make cheese by digesting it. Mm-hmm. This is stuff that's really like veganism 101 type shit. Right. Because it's for our vegan 101 book. And then I talk about, I say this. In order for you to have your beloved cheese, someone had to produce the milk to make the cheese, and we don't mean a dairy farmer. The someone in this case is a nameless dairy cow identified only by a number and probably a radio frequency identification tag in her ear that helps the slave owner/farmer track her productivity so he can send her to slaughter once she underproduces. In the larger dairy operations, this cow may never go outside. She will repeatedly give birth to calves who will be stolen from her almost immediately after they are born. She will live in a short and miserable life and end up as hamburger on the plate of some fast food consumer, all because you could not find the guts to stop eating cheese or drinking milk, and you say you care about animals. And then I just talked about the nutritional aspects of cheese as well, right? Basically, which comes down to this. A cup of cube cheese, cheddar cheese, has 532 calories. And 385 of those calories come from fat, and that's 139% of the amount of recommended total daily consumption of saturated fat by the U.S. government, okay? So, pretty straightforward entry, but my God, like, people got all pissy at me.
Yeah. I have no idea why.
Well, someone said that that what I wrote was too much of a knee-jerk hostile stance. This guy was not a vegetarian, but he this article made him question the soundness of mind and maturity of vegans. I don't really understand that.
No.
Where that would come from.
No.
Someone else said that they agree with me, but they were pointing out some of the things that I probably could do better. Like, I got too ranty towards the end. For example, phrases like your beloved cheese and the slave owner farmer. It's offending non-vegans, blah, 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 blah. What else do we get? Just like just a bunch of shit like this. It's just like whiny stuff about how I'm going to like be too mean to non-vegans and I'm going to scare people off and just stuff that's just ridiculous by and large, mm-hmm. And how we need to have a better way to reach people and we need to be 800 different whiny fucking things. Fuck. It's like, there's not a single way it's going to reach everyone. Mm-mm. I'm sure some people are going to read this shit and be like, you know what? Fuck you. This guy's an idiot. Fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But so what?
But there are going to be other people who will be like, fine. Thank you for being straight with me.
That's right.
And realize that, oh my God, yeah, you're right. It is so stupid that I'm eating cheese. There's no reason to. So we talk about this a lot on our show, that people give us shit for the way we are on our show and everything. But you can't reach every single person all the time.
No.
If you water down your message that much, your message means nothing.
That's right.
So we have a certain segment of the population. Our book is geared towards people who are already interested in becoming vegan and need help. So we're not writing to really non-vegans necessarily.
No, not entirely.
I mean, and people who maybe are not vegan yet, but are interested.
Exactly.
Or else they would never pick up a book called Vegan Freak.
I don't think so.
Sure. So, and in our show, we have to sort of tell it like it is. And
I think so
we represent a certain segment of people who are going to like us and other people are going to hate us. Fine. Mm-hmm. There are other people out there for you if you don't like us, who do completely different things to us.
I do completely different things to us.
And us.
Yeah, I know. But I completely agree with that. And I also think that when it comes down to it, we've talked about this before, you and I. Do you treat people like adults or do you treat them like fucking children? Like, do you level with them up front and do you say, these are the things that you've got to deal with, right? These are the issues. If you're brave enough to hear them, here they are. Wrap your head around them. Be an adult. Don't bury your head in the sand. This is what's going on. Mm-hmm. I prefer, because I'm a rational adult, I prefer that people level with me. Tell me what's going on. I don't need you to wrap it in some kind of message that you think that I have to hear because I can't hear the message that's true or I can't hear the message that is as it is.
Right. And in what you wrote, there is no hyperbole.
No,
none, whatsoever.
I was accused of hyperbole, but none of it is hyperbole.
None of it. It is all true.
It is. It's all true. And I cite things throughout.
Yeah.
Like, I don't cite it on the webpage, but I cite things throughout the book. Mm-hmm. Okay, which was totally one of the critiques of our book last time. It's
like, oh my God, we use sources?
Like, you use too many other books to write your book?
These are probably the same people who are, in their college classrooms getting, failing their papers because you're not citing sources.
It's like, you use too many sources.
You dumbass.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, my point is this. I just think that we need to treat people like adults. And I don't think that means we need to be rude to them. I don't think it means...
you don't need to be, all in your face flipping over tables. That's what we always say.
Right. I don't think it requires any of that.
Right. But
I do think that being straightforward with people is effective for at least people who are adults. Mm-hmm. And, let me be frank about it. I think we're at a point in veganism now where we...
Oh, sorry, Molly just farted.
Oh, man.
Oh, it smells like a skunk.
Oh, it is drifting over here. God damn. Well, you're gonna...
Oh, my God.
Wow. Holy shit, man.
Wow, that hasn't happened in a while.
That's a bad one.
Oof.
Oh, my God.
Wow. It's like taking my breath away. I'm sorry.
Wow. Let me tell you, did that give me the shits?
I didn't mean to interrupt, but wow, my eyes are watering.
I totally forgot where we were.
Me too.
What was I talking about?
I don't know.
Fucking hell.
Wow.
That's pretty bad.
It's silent but violent, man.
Wow, that really is. I think some sweat's running down my face from the smell of that thing. I'm like, holy Christ! I'm surprised the legs on our table that we're recording out haven't melted into the floor yet. Ay, ay, ay. Anyway, I think what I was trying to say was that I think that we need to level with people and treat them like adults. And I also think we're at the point in veganism where, I think a lot of people say anyone who goes vegan for any reason is going vegan for a good reason. And, I'm glad people go vegan, but I also think we're at the point now where we need like a social movement. We need a group of people who are trying to change the way society sees things. It isn't just about trying to get more people to go vegan. It's about changing the way the world sees things,
Right.
So I want people on side who are intelligent enough and adult enough to be able to fucking handle the truth and have the intestinal fortitude to read something and get it and understand that this is a problem. And people accuse me of being doctrinaire. They accuse me of being dogmatic. They accuse me of thinking with blinders on. But all that is such a fucking lie, because when it comes down to it, at the bottom of it all, if I ever were like that, would I ever be vegan? No. I would never be vegan. I would never change my mind. And I think if you look at what we've done, we've changed our mind. Mm-hmm. And I don't have this notion that changing your mind is a bad thing.
No.
I have this notion that changing your mind is what you do when you're presented with evidence that and arguments and theories that make you change it. Mm-hmm. So anyway, the point is, I think people need to be treated like adults. That's me ranting and raving about our blog. I also wrote another entry there on the blog that I won't talk about now, except for extremely briefly to tell you the title of. And the title of that one is about environmentalists. So I talked about moving beyond environmental veganism, because environmental veganism, I said in the entry, what did I say? Where was it? Oh, damn, I can't find it. Oh, right. Going vegan for mere environmental reasons is rather like opposing the Holocaust because the trains to Auschwitz had a large carbon footprint. Jenna's throwing me dirty looks.
No.
No? Okay. Thought you didn't. I had to close the comments on that one too. But anyway, that's on our website, veganfreak.com. You can look at those if you want. And you can see the kind of stuff that we put up, we deal with. So, I don't know. I don't expect everyone to agree with me. I think that's totally cool. But I think a lot of vegans, when it comes down to it, are really spineless because they're happy to go on a web page and type out 800 different comments and say whatever they want under some pseudonym and hide behind it, when I'm willing to lay out there, this is who I am, this is what I'm writing, and, this is who we are. You can look into, this is where I am coming from, but I think a lot of people are fucking cowards. So anyway, voicemails?
Sure.
We'll play our little theme.
Cool.
Time once again for some vegan freak voicemail. Maybe we'll hear from a hot chick
or a choice male.
Callers make us happy and help us keep our sanity, even if all they wanna do is fucking complain about the shit load of profanity.
Hey evening, vegan freaks. This is Crystal, Klein from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Just want to say thank you again for the podcast. It was one of the biggest reasons I finally went vegan last summer after being vegetarian for 10 years. So just thank you for all your hard work and the great podcast. But I finally came on a quandary that I hadn't thought would happen. I am an actress by craft, and I'm working on a show right now that's set in the 30s, and in my costume design, as indeed is written in the script, my very upper-class character is wearing a fur. And not just a fur, but a fox stole. And I brought up my concerns in my fitting, saying I'm vegan, and boy, that was really freaking me out. And, of course, the designers confirmed that it was an antique, which I know it is. It's been around at least 70 years, this ancient fur. And it just brought up the bigger issue of, in my profession, many times, until I'm famous like Natalie Portman and can really throw my weight around, to be truthful to the character, sometimes these people do and wear very non-vegan things. I was just wondering what you thought about that, or what I should do, or if, if I say I'm vegan, yet I walk on stage wearing a fox stole because it's written in the script and talked about on stage, does that mean I'm, not a vegan? So, just a little bit of the moral quandaries of an actress. I hope you guys are having a good time. Once again, thank you for the podcast.
Well, before we answer, perhaps we should listen to her update.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. This is Crystal calling from Winston-Salem, North Carolina again. I left a message a few weeks ago about how I'm an actress, and I was in a production, and they were trying to put me in a fox stole, and were quite adamant that I had to wear it. And I just wanted to call and say that small victories sometimes happen, and after, I guess, just being incredibly vocal in a nice way about my discomfort and the fact that it's against my ethical beliefs to wear fur, I showed up to first dress rehearsal this weekend, and they had brought out a rather awful faux, which looked very bad, and they were about to put me back in the real fur again, and instead they went and made me a faux fox stole from scratch that looks very nice and fulfills the requirements of the play without being an actual fur. And I just thought that was super cool, and the fact that the entire crew was willing to go out of their way just to meet my ethical standards. I didn't expect that to happen at all, especially in a small theater company like this. So just thought I'd let you guys know that that problem kind of got solved. I hope you're having a good day. Bye.
That is so cool.
Yes, very cool. It was great that you were able to, make your wishes known and get people to change their minds.
Way to be, man. That is the way to be in the world, though. I mean,
yeah.
I think that's one of the real points of veganism, too, is to be out there in the world, being that person who stands in for the animals that are being essentially abused and oppressed by the society in which we live. Mm-hmm. And so you're reminding people all the time through the things you do of that protest, that problem with the way humanity treats animals. So I think that kind of educational perspective is the perspective that society needs. And, that they accommodated her is amazing and very cool. But I'm glad that she made her discomfort known.
Right. I mean, because, I was thinking when we first got the voicemail, I'm like, what would I do? I don't know. I mean, like, would I, if I was an actress and my role called for eating meat, would I do it? Of course not.
No.
So why would I wear a fur? It was same reasons. I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't wear leather either. And I know there are some people out there who do have jobs who are forced to wear, and they have little choice. For example, like safety boots.
Right.
Like by law, some people have to wear them on their jobs, and they're only leather ones that they have to wear. And in that case, it's unavoidable. But this case, it is avoidable.
Sure.
And so I think it was good that you stood up for what you believed in and got it changed.
I agree with you. I really think that in cases where you can't absolutely avoid it, where you have to do something by law or by regulation where you'll lose your job otherwise, and it's safety gear or something like that,
right,
look for an alternative. But if you can't find one and they won't let you use one, I mean, shit, you got to have your job, right?
Right.
So I think, it's worth it's worth considering. It's worth talking to someone about. But if you can't get around it, you can't get around it. But I do think in this situation, I mean, obviously she found a way to get around it. And I think it's good. And on top of all that, I would think that, I mean, clearly it would have bothered her to have worn that stole, right? It would have really bothered her.
Yeah.
And just think about the ways in which that would really kind of screw up your mojo, you know, ways that would really fuck up your ability to act well.
Right,
and,
right.
And to feel comfortable in the
right,
part.
To be like sitting out there on stage skeeved out.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. So
yeah.
And I know that, you know, probably good actors get around that in any number of ways, but still, it's something really, really potent to consider. So I think that polite reminders to people about why you're vegan and what it means to be vegan and how animals how they aren't ours to use, to wear, to eat, to experiment on. These are the things that we have to live every day, and that's what we remind people about why veganism is important. It isn't about what you do and don't eat. I mean, it kind of is, but it's really about the way that you live in the world and what that means to the world around you, because that's where veganism is successful as this kind of social action, as a protest.
Right.
Okay, moving on. We have a voicemail from Dave.
Hey, freaks. It's Dave from Buffalo again. I was driving by this, driving down the road and drove by this sign. It said, hot dogs and sausage, fundraiser for abused animals at Gander Mountain. Grab lunch, save an animal. What's wrong with this picture? Gander Mountain's like an outdoor store. You know, they sell lots of hunting stuff and tents and guns and ammo, and they got all these stuffed wildlife in there like bears and birds and what have you. What's wrong with this picture here, eh? Thanks.
Who here can tell Bob what critical thinking means?
Well, that's the thing.
Well, don't you know, Dave, it's only to save the cute furry animals.
Right. I remember the first time I taught animal rights, I had the student and I began the course just by laying right into the whole thing about food animals, you know, cows, pigs, or, you know, all the stuff. I started talking about those right up front. And I remember after class, this girl came to me and she said, Professor, I was like, yeah, you know, she said, I kind of didn't know this class would be about, like, you know, food. I was like, well, you know, okay, understandably, you know, she's like, I thought it'd be about, like, rabbits and, like, furry animals and, like, cute things. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. So, anyway, I think a lot of people have that misconception that animal rights is about the cute furry ones.
Right.
Or the charismatic animals, right? Like the whales.
But the whole grab a lunch and save an animal, it's like by killing one to eat.
Yeah.
That was an animal too, by the way. Even if you put it into sausage shape, it's still an animal.
But they aren't real animals. Wait. They aren't real animals? No, they are. Yeah. Meat really does make you dumb. No, it's actually society that makes you dumb because it blinds you to these things, to these relationships. And so it allows you to set out these categories in your head that make no fucking sense at all. None at all whatsoever. None. Zero zip. Not a zero. Okay. You done? Have you ever, we've been in Gander Mountain, haven't we?
Yeah.
Whew.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I don't know if any of you have Gander Mountain. I don't know where.
Is it just a New York thing or is it?
I think it's a national chain, but I'm not sure. But if you haven't been in Gander Mountain yet, for me, it was like, I'm trying to think of how I could describe it. For me, going in there, I don't know, it was probably like, I don't know, someone from where we live right now going into like a really good like hip hop record store in Philadelphia. Like, okay, actually, I'd be completely lost in a hip hop record store in Philadelphia too. But the cultural issues,
cultural
right?
shock, yeah.
Yeah, there's like a cultural shock going into this place. Like all this shit that I didn't even know about.
Right. In case you're wondering why we were in there, is because we had to take our car in for service and we were bored, so they dropped us off at the mall. And we were like, we got to check this place out. Yeah, it was undercover field work. But no, the mall they drop us off at. Oh my God! I know. We were like, what the hell is Gander Mountain?
That's another thing too. Is it moving out of rural America is going to be fan-fucking-tastic because we aren't going to have to drive 90 minutes to have our car serviced.
No, it would be nice. Why would drive 5 minutes to get our car serviced?
Yeah, a dealer for the car that we have is 2 miles away from where we live.
Woo!
2 miles.
And we don't have to drive 12 miles to get to a grocery store.
Exactly.
That'll be nice.
I know.
We don't have to drive 12 miles to get soy milk.
Yay. I know. It's amazing. Do you know what's 2 miles from where we live right now?
Woods.
I was just going to say trees.
Trees. Lots and lots of trees. Which is great because they're pretty.
So we're... Obviously, we're very excited to leave. I know some of you have probably gone back into the archives. I know some of you have because you've sent us little emails and things on IRC saying, we were back in the archives and I heard you were all dissing on Philly. Well, people change. We're not dissing on Philly. We're leaving and we're happy to leave. So if you find something contradictory in the archives, I'm sure you will. There's probably tons of contradictory stuff in there. Yeah, I'm not shocked. Another thing you probably should know about the podcast is, for me, I don't know about for Jenna, but for me, the podcast is like this weird fugue state that I go into. It's like I'm channeling energies, right? and they're like totally moving through me, all right? And I don't remember a whole lot about what I talk about on the show. So we finish the show and writing up show notes is it's always really hard for me.
I know. It is for me too. Unless we actually made an outline before.
Oh, it's tough.
It's like, what did we talk about?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So I usually not, okay, I'm joking about the channeling earth energy stuff, okay? But I usually forget what I had talked about. And I just kind of go. Mm-hmm. As you've heard, today I've just been like going. Mm-hmm. Okay? So I often forget what I talk about on the show, number one. Number two, we've been doing shows since 2005.
Yes, we've talked about a lot of stuff.
Right. And so one thing that it's always kind of cute, actually. I not cute. Cute's not the right word, but it's also kind of, it always gives me a little chuckle. Like I don't get frustrated by it. I always get a little chuckle when someone will write an email or find me on IRC and say like, so I heard you talking the other day about fishing, or that segment you did on PETA, and like they start talking about something. And it was something we did like a year or two ago. And like to them, it's fresh.
Right, because
they just listen to it.
Yeah.
But to me, I have no clue what they're talking about. I can't remember. I'm like, what? I can't remember anything. But I don't really remember what we do.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Okay. Move on, more voicemails.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. This is the third time I'm trying to leave this voicemail because my cell phone keeps being stupid. So I need to hurry up and say it before my cell phone goes out again. But I'm trying to tell you about some stupid things that I've come across while being vegan in high school. The first one was a girl in my English class who said that her sister used to be a vegetarian. So when I asked her why did her sister go vegetarian, she said because she saw how the animals were slaughtered and she didn't like how they were treated. And I said, oh. And then the girl says, but my sister still eats our cows because we treat our cows humanely. And I was just sitting there like, what the hell?
TikTok.
So now we have cow-eating vegetarians? Anyways. So then recently in my algebra class, there was a boy, and he was sitting behind me, and he said...
Boys are the worst. Boys are. Listen, I gotta tell you, I am so glad. When I was like, I think I was probably a really nice person until I was about 14, 13, somewhere in there. Until I started to hit like, I don't know, actually probably even younger than that. Whenever I started to hit puberty, whatever year that was, 12, 13, I don't remember. But teenage years, right? Mm-hmm. I was just fucking ridiculous. Like seriously, I look back on that and I'm like, oh my God. I feel a little nauseous thinking about like the kinds of stupid that I was. And this is the thing with men, with men/boys, whatever. Mm-hmm. For some of them, it lasts their entire life. Mm-hmm. But for me, I think I was really an idiot until I was about like 25 or 26. Like I'm still kind of an idiot, but I was really an idiot until I was 25 or 26. And I think that that's a problem with men in general. So
yeah, thinking
with their balls and their dicks, but yeah, whatever. No, I just think that there's something about testosterone that makes you dumb. Anyway.
So how was my weekend? And I told him my weekend was good, and I asked about his, and he said he went turtle hunting.
Turtle hunting?
And I just looked at him, and I said, turtle hunting? He said, yeah, there's a pond near my house, and there are turtles in it, so we shoot the turtles. And I was just sitting there in awe, like, he can't actually be serious. But he was. And then a girl behind him starts laughing, and I look at her, and she said, oh, I'm sorry, but I think that's just funny. As long as it's not a dog or a cat, I really don't care. And I said, well, what about if that turtle feels exactly as much pain as that dog or cat?
Yeah, good question.
And she said, well, God gave us animals to eat.
God gave us dumb people to eat. Did he? I don't know. Soylent Green.
And I didn't know how to respond to that.
You responded by saying, God gave us dumb people to eat. Or you punch her in the throat. No, I'm just kidding. I would never advocate violence.
Anyways, I'm sorry if you can
the ice
hear
cream
the
truck.
ice cream truck in the background. Anyways, at home,
poor Caitlyn.
My stepmom's brother was there, so I guess that's my uncle, and he said that he wasn't going to eat KFC anymore. And stupid ice cream truck. Okay, I tried to get away from it. So my uncle was telling us how he wasn't going to eat KFC anymore. And my stepmom looked at me and said, see, Caitlyn, he's making progress. And I looked at her and I said, I don't think eating gassed chickens over electrocuted chickens is progress. I wasn't happy that he wasn't going to eat KFC because he was still eating other animals. So my stepmom and my dad were mad at me for the rest of the day, but I'm sorry, I don't think that's progress at all. Was I wrong for that?
No.
I don't know. Anyways, this is just a few of the stupid things I have to put up with. I hope that your move goes well and that you meet lots of people who don't shoot turtles or eat babies. Have a good day. Thanks for the podcast. It's been awesome, and I'm sorry if this rant was too long or stupid. There's no other vegans around here. So, anyways, bye.
That rant was neither too long nor too stupid. And in fact, earlier I was talking about how we need smart people who can handle these kinds of concepts.
There you go.
Here we go. Right.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
She takes the logical principles.
Yes.
They're extremely logical. They're extremely easy. That's why I don't understand why people don't get animal rights. It's logical. She takes the logical principles and applies them consistently across all situations. Right. This is something that most people don't do. She does. Congratulations.
Yes.
I mean, fuck yeah.
I know. I mean, you're right. You were completely right to get mad at only giving up KFC. Not eating one kind of animal and eating another kind of animal, still eating animals. Exactly. Doesn't make any sense.
Well, it wasn't just the kind, right? For her, it was how they were killed.
Right, exactly.
So it's like, is it electrocuted better than gassed? I mean, they're both dead.
They're both dead.
And it's both the act of killing and confining that's the problem.
Exactly.
That's actually, that basic idea is exactly what is behind the entire notion of abolitionism when it gets down to it. I mean, not the entire notion, but the abolitionist critique of welfareism is right there. It's like, okay, either way, the animal's being fucking killed, and so that's one of the big critiques, and I'm impressed with the way in which she gets it. I do feel bad for her, though, because it sounds like, and if it's the same Caitlyn I think it is, I've talked to her on IRC.
And she's on her forums, too.
Yeah. So I think she's in a tough spot in terms of where she's at, so.
Oh, man. But good for you.
But fuck yeah, good for you. And stay on the forums and stay around IRC and make sure you're in touch with us so that you can maintain your sanity.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And it's sad when, we're the crazy ones. When what the other people saying, yeah, my pond has turtles, so I'm going to shoot them.
Yeah.
It's like as if that is logical. They're there, so I'm going to shoot them.
Yeah,
no.
I also like the God put animals here to eat argument. I'm like, really? Really? At that point, I just think, at that point, you just go, okay, and you walk away.
Right, yeah. There's no, oh, whatever.
It was like we were watching that Dana Gould special tonight, the comedian Dana Gould, right? And he said, he had this little, I wish I had thought about it before the show, or I would get the skit for you, but he essentially said that, have you ever talked to someone, and he said, they ask you a question that's so dumb, it's so ridiculous, it's so out there, that you could answer them, but it would take you 20 minutes to explain to them because they're so far off, they don't really get it. It would take you so long to explain to them, you just go, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And I think in some ways,
sometimes,
I think when someone says God put animals here for us to eat, you just go, yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, why did God put you here? Jesus Christ. Anyway, speaking of God, moving on.
Hey, Jen and Bob, this is Rachel. I'm not on the forums yet. I'm actually new to the whole vegan lifestyle. I'm a recent convert. First day of being officially vegan was January 14th. So I've been vegetarian for years. But I have 2 questions for you. First question is, what are your thoughts on desiccated thyroid for people with hypothyroidism, which is, although I don't take it, I have been researching ways to take care of my thyroid issue outside of synthetic drugs, because I'm really not a big fan of animal testing, which they do a lot of animal testing with thyroid medication. I've done so much research, and so if you have any thoughts on that, that would be wonderful. And the other thing is, I just wanted to thank you for helping to keep me sane, because I have an omnivore husband and 2 omnivore in-laws from a Latin third world country that live with me. So none of them have any problem with murdering animals or slaughterhouses. They see no problem with it whatsoever. And so it has become a really big problem in my home, because I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old that I am now raising vegetarian, trying to raise vegan, but it's hard when there are 3 other adults giving my kids animal products. My son hates meat. He hates animal meat. He doesn't want to have anything to do with it, and he always cries when he has to eat it. So, anyways, if there's any inspiration or, I don't know, words of encouragement you could give me, I'd really appreciate that, too. All right. Thanks for helping me out. Bye.
Well, congratulations on going vegan. That's a big step to take, and it sounds like you're in a situation where there isn't a whole lot of support for that. So it's all the more commendable because you've taken that step into it. I think in terms of medicinal issues, we're not doctors. I can't say what you should or shouldn't do for any condition. I have no clue. What I would say, though, is that anyone who has any condition should talk to a doctor about it. And if your doctor advises you to do something that you think is reasonable, because doctors can sometimes advise shit that is unreasonable. You can always get a second opinion. But if your doctor does something that you think is reasonable and that you think will help your condition, in general, my inclination in that situation is to do it. So if my doctor says to me, I think you need to take X medicine, and I go home and I look up X medicine, and I've talked to the doctor about it, I understand what I'm doing, and I think the doctor's doing the right thing, I'll take it. I know it's tested on animals. I know perhaps it may have animal products in it. That's how it goes sometimes. I think, again, the structure of society is such that we don't really have compelling ways around it.
We don't have a choice.
Right. We don't have a choice. So
being unhealthy or being sick or forcing yourself to be sick and not taking medicines is not a choice.
Yep.
It is not an option. You can't do that.
I agree.
If any of you are not taking medications because they were tested on animals or because they might have animal products, stop. Take what you're supposed to take.
I agree. And, the other thing, too, is that a dead animal activist does us no good.
Exactly.
Well, actually, it depends on who the activist is.
Or even a sick one.
It depends on who the activist is. I'm just kidding. No, I really do think it's worth taking the things that you're advised to take.
Right. And you cannot get a medication in this country without having it being tested on animals because it is the law.
Yep.
They have to test it on animals. And so if you're really concerned about this, take your medication, do what you need to do to keep yourself healthy, and get people to go vegan, because then more people will realize that these kinds of things are not good.
That's right.
And get people to start thinking about why animal testing in general is not good.
Absolutely. And, the other thing, too, is we write about this in our book, and I just pulled up real quick. There's just a section I want to read because it really encapsulates I think it encapsulates our feelings well on this issue. And there's an example here that really, I think, helps wrap your head around it. So let me just read this one quick section to you. Fuck, I turned the ringer off on that. I thought I did. So anyway, we'll see.
Okay.
I just let it ring. What else can I do?
All right.
Anyway, you know how often we get phone calls? Like never.
Never.
So, oh shit, the machine's going to go too. Oh, there, you press a button. That works. Anyway, Jesus Christ. The ubiquity of animal products in unavoidable places is a byproduct of speciesism. We live in a world in which the social and economic systems provide us with no other real alternatives to these products, some of which are absolutely essential to our health or livelihoods. In this case, we have no real viable alternative. We have no choice but to consume the things that we need to live. As a result, it is often difficult to avoid all animal products as a practical matter. Gary Francione addresses this same point in his book, Introduction to Animal Rights. And in that book, he says, assume that we find that the local water company employs child labor and we object to child labor. Are we obligated to die of dehydration because the water company has chosen to violate the rights of children? No, of course not. We would be obligated to support the abolition of this use of children, but we would not be obligated to die. Similarly, we should join together collectively and demand an end to animal exploitation. We are not obligated to accept animal exploitation or forego any benefits that it might provide. So what he's saying is that you have to recognize when you're in a situation in which you can avoid consuming animal products, which I think is, the overwhelming majority of situations are of this kind where you can avoid it. But there are these other marginal situations where you have no choice. Mm-hmm. So it's part of the way our society operates. You can't avoid it. Mm-hmm. So I think knowing that is essential, mm-hmm. and knowing when to make that distinction. And we don't, like Jenna said, we don't want anyone thinking that in order to be a good vegan they have to give up on some medication that they need. No. But on the flip side, I have no clue. Like desiccated thyroid.
I have no idea what that is.
I mean, if it's some kind of like homeopathic, like natural medicine shit that's some kind of health store type stuff, I definitely wouldn't take it.
No.
In that situation, because I think you're directly consuming animal product, like personally speaking, that would really like turn me off. But
right. But if there are other options that you can take that would, do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would talk to your doctor.
But if your doctor tells you to take desiccated thyroid,
right,
then
whatever that is,
fucking take it. I mean, I don't know. That's my feeling.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel?
Yep.
All right. So we're done with our voicemails.
Okay.
267-295-1944. Write the number down on your refrigerator door. Add the 001 country code if you call us from Vienna. That's how you leave a voicemail for good old Bob and Jenna.
All right. So didn't you see me turn the ringer off on that phone prior to the show?
I watched you do it.
I did it.
I know.
Anyway, sorry about that. We almost never get phone calls. Okay, let me get back to some Twitters. God, that's loud. Maybe it's not. I hope it's not that loud for our
not either.
Our listeners, because if it did, your ears probably really hurt. Okay, so some more questions. Dre, I don't know how to say her name, but I have been. We've been back and forth on Twitter a lot because she likes to drink. She says, "Shoot, guess I'm too late to call." Actually, she was fine. Just wanted to say yay to my 10-year-old. My 10-year-old son who recently became vegan.
Yay.
So congratulations on
Awesome.
that. Good stuff. Let's see. I'm going to skip a couple here. I hear you're moving to Philly. Did you guys get new teaching gigs or are you writing full time? We are moving to Philly and the answer is neither. Brenton Ray says, that was Ben Martin, by the way. Brenton Ray says, love the show. Pushed me to go vegan 4 months ago. What else do we have? Tony Reynolds says, so fucking glad you're doing a show. My workday has been so boring without you. Neda says, sacrifice 30 minutes of sleep so I can say, love your show. Good night, freaks.
Aw.
Thank you. And we don't want anyone missing sleep to catch our show. This is one thing that someone has in the past have said to me. A couple people have told me that they listen to our show on their headphones while they're going to sleep. I'm like, oh my God.
Why would you listen to us before going to sleep?
You're ahead.
Oh, you must be some kind of crazy person.
I mean, really, like, what? You're going to go to sleep and dream about...
In a few moments, you can come up and pet the turkey if you want to.
And like,
you're working hard to put food on your family.
Crazy stuff like that. You're gonna be...
Occasionally, and one of the things I've used on the Google is to pull up maps.
So you're going to dream about stuff like that, you know?
Arse biscuits!
And arse biscuits. You'll dream about arse biscuits. You don't want to dream about arse biscuits. And
eat my ass, okay?
And eating his ass. I don't know. Okay. Moving on. Let's see. Teacopnet says, seitan made from scratch. Is it really worth the effort? Just asking. Yes, it is. Go to veganfreak.com and in the middle column, just underneath the box of comments, it says search veganfreak.com, type in seitan right there and look at the first entry called Getting Satanic. And I post there 2 recipes, one recipe, and I think a link to another that will make your life simple. So, yeah it's worth it. And it's not
way
hard.
cheaper, for one thing. Because we can get these little tubs and they're so expensive.
Yeah, they are.
And it's much tastier.
It's much better, and you can control exactly what you put in it, and you can experiment with it.
Yeah.
The basic seitan, the recipe that's on our website, is from Joy Tianso's cookbook. It's worth the trouble to check it out. What else do we have? Mike Pullon Robertson says, I just got my first Mac 15 minutes ago, and tweeting you is my virgin voyage.
All right.
Be gentle, but firm. Oh, indeed. Oh, baby. I just retweeted him. Responded to him. Brenda Hay says, kisses to Mole.
Kisses to Farty Mole.
Mole would love to kiss.
Yes,
he's a licker. He loves to lick. That's what he's all about. Let's see, what else do we have in here that I'm missing? Bess Hochstein says, I think I got her. I hope I got your last name right. If I didn't, sorry. She says, do purple potatoes have any more nutrients than the plain old white taters? And interestingly, I know the answer to this.
Do they?
They do.
Cool.
They actually do. I think it's been a number of years. I worked on a grant project a number of years ago where I spent a summer living in the Peruvian Andes with potato farmers, right? And purple potatoes and those other the potatoes that have the purple in throughout the white part as well, not just the skin. Mm-hmm. I think, but this is like 15 years ago, okay? But I think that they actually have more protein in them in addition to the beta carotenes and other things.
Nice.
I'm not positive about that, but I think so. So I think so, but I'm sure the Google could tell us for sure. Let's see. Katrina, again, she had a couple questions, but I'm just kind of hitting the easy ones here. Do you know of any vegan cookbooks that use easy-to-find ingredients, or can you recommend a good website for vegan food supplies? I think vegan cookbooks that use easy-to-find ingredients, like Sarah Kramer's books,
definitely am.
By and large, have recipes in there that you can do without health food stores. Mm-hmm. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Mm-hmm. I think Katrina's cookbooks, I think, tend to use miso and other things like that sometimes.
Yeah,
but
some hard to find ingredients, or some things you have to get at the health food store. But
yeah, but I still think Katrina's cookbooks are always a good foundation to work from. But I really do think Sarah Kramer's cookbooks are the kinds of cookbooks you can pick up that don't have a ton of really particularly weird or particularly hard to find ingredients in them. Some of the recipes will, but not all of them. And I think that those are the books you can really do well with, like How It All Vegan, or whatever, however she says it, right? Because I always get mixed up on that one.
Right.
Because I'm slow. I can't help it. I don't speak slowly, but I'm slow. Yeah.
And Dino's cookbooks.
Yeah.
Cookbook, Alternative Vegan, uses, regular ingredients, nothing like the health food kind of stuff. Might have some spices that you might have to find, that you might have trouble finding depending on where you live, but you can find easily, in either specialty stores or online.
How could I forget about Dino's book?
Yeah.
Jeez, what a dummy I am. Dino's book is good, in that way too. I'd really recommend that book too, because he really has a lot of basic recipes in there that you can use to riff off of, and he gives you ideas for how to take those recipes and make them your own. It's like a jazz approach to cooking. It's really cool. Brenda also says, thanks for everything, Bob and Jenna. Do you watch Lost? If so, which character you relate to the most?
We used to watch Lost and then got annoyed with it.
I got annoyed with it. Did you?
A little. I still kind of wanted to find out what was going on. Yeah. But I'm like, all right already.
But I'm like, wait, it's the future. No, it's the past.
Oh my God,
no,
is he dead? Is he alive? What? Oh my God.
So who can you relate to the most?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I haven't watched it in a long time.
Yeah.
I do want to watch it again. I want to finish it.
Yeah.
So
it might be that we wait until the series is over and then watch it on DVD all the way through.
I think that's what we have to do, because that way because when I start watching them, I actually really get into them.
I know, but then by the time in between seasons, I forget what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I mean, man, that's a tough question. I have to think about that one. So let me think about it. Maybe we'll answer that in June if I remember to answer it. Brenton Ray wants to know: has Oops come yet? UPS.
You know what? I'm expecting a book.
Are you really?
And it hasn't come yet.
What are you doing ordering a book? We're moving in 10 days or some shit like that.
I needed it for work.
Oh, come on, man. Okay.
I am amazed that he didn't come right during our show.
True. Well, they still have a few minutes. Melissa Schneider says, how many more did you want to do? We have a lot.
Just a couple more.
Okay. Melissa Schneider says, first, thanks for turning my quote-unquote diet into an ethical stance. Second, when are you moving to Philadelphia? So we're moving to Philadelphia in a couple weeks. And we're very much happy to have helped you move from that diet into an ethical stance, because that's what I think veganism is about.
Definitely.
Veganism isn't just about what you eat. Everybody knows that, though. I mean, all our listeners should know that.
I would.
Let's see. Vegan Hope says, "Can you talk to Oprah, or can you become the male vegan male version of Oprah and give all Americans free kale?"
If someone would like to fund us,
I could be like, I don't know.
I don't think we're primetime television material.
I get the idea that.
Yeah.
I think that I'm an alienating kind of character. Like, I'm the kind of person that I think turns a lot of people off.
Yeah.
And I make no apologies for that. So if that's how it is, fuck you. Don't listen. Don't read our site. Don't read our books. I don't fucking care. I do what I do. You like it, good. You don't like it, sorry. There's a lot of other people out there. And you know what? You could step up and do it if you think you could do it better.
There you go.
But, if we were if I became the male Oprah, that'd be pretty cool because I could say things like,
"We thank the hummus for coming to our table."
I could thank the hummus. I could thank the beer for coming to my mouth. So, yeah, I don't know what's up with Oprah. Whatever. Okay. This is another one we have to talk about here. Oh, my God. New vegans in our group think we are too preachy because we don't think it's okay to eat dairy sometimes to appease others.
Ooh.
Oh my
That's not preachy. It's being consistent.
Yes.
Ethically consistent.
And it's important. The ethical consistency is important. It's like, are you opposed to child abuse? Yes. Like most people, if you ask them, are you opposed to child abuse? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, if you ask them again, do you think it's okay if you occasionally feel like it to beat a kid? You don't beat them real hard. Just beat them a little bit. Do you think that's okay? Most people are like, no, it's never okay to beat a child. Well, if you're a vegan, why is it ever okay to abuse an animal by eating the products that abuse them? I don't understand.
Right.
I just think it's a basic question.
I know. And and some people like say, well, you just said take medicine that had animal products in it. Different, because with cheese, etc., dietary things, you have a choice.
You do.
And and when your friend says, "Oh, here, eat it, just a little bit of cheese on it," that's not a good reason.
Yep.
With medicine, you have no choice. In certain situations, you have no choice. You're given by society no choice whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Then, okay, what do? You got to deal with it. When you have a choice,
yes,
you don't have to eat this food. You don't need to eat cheese to survive. You don't need to eat cheese to make people happy. You don't eat it.
That's the thing. And again, to say it one more time, veganism is about you're making that protest in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone offers you cheese, if you take it just to preserve the sanity of a situation or just to preserve someone's feelings in a particular situation, you're not making the impact you need to be making.
Mm-mm.
And veganism isn't about like what you, oh my God.
Dog farts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Oh my God.
It's like so bad it's distracting. Like we can't finish sentences.
No, it's horrible. I taste it in my mouth almost. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, by the way, I'd like to thank you for telling me that the cockroach and coffee story right before we were making coffee this morning.
Well, it made me think of it.
Yeah, I know.
It made me think of it. We got back from our run and we're making coffee. I'm like, so Jenna, do you want me to tell you a story that I think I shouldn't tell you?
Well, I'm like, after that, well, now you have to tell me.
Well, there you go. Okay. Cheryl Pesto says, do you think it's possible for vegans to live happily ever after with a meat eater? How about cannibals? Do I think that meat eaters could live with cannibals? I think so. I think people could probably work out any number of permutations of relationships that involve contradictory kinds of beliefs and situations. And I think that's always eminently possible. I personally, it's just me. It's the way I am. It's my makeup. I am the kind of person, you can ask Jenna, I am the kind of person who figures out where buttons are. I find the big and the small ones, and I push them over and over and over again to make people upset. So that is one of my particular downsides in a sense, right? I forget where the buttons are and I push them. So I could never live with someone who ate. I could never live in the kind of relationship I have with Jenna with someone who ate meat. And I don't know if I could live in a house with someone who ate meat, really. Just the kind of day-to-day aspects of it. But I do think a lot of people make it happen. I don't think it's bad that they make it happen. Whatever. Everybody makes their own kind of situation with the spouse or the partner that they're with work or not work. So I think it's possible, but I think it can be challenging at times. And I think it requires both both sides to be extremely patient and compassionate and forgiving of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is in particularly short supply for a lot of people. my. Oh, man, there's so many good questions. What are we supposed to do?
I don't know.
All right,
how many more?
There are a couple more.
Okay.
Yeah, look, if people don't want to listen after this, they don't have to listen.
Okay.
All right, we haven't done a show in a month and a
true.
half.
All right.
2 months or something.
Okay.
Let's just do it.
All right.
Do it on the air. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Anastasia says, Anastasia Parmson, I assume I'm saying your name right. I hope I am. I'm probably not. Hi, guys. Not sure what time it is in New York, but hope you might say a few words about your opinion on raw foodism. Cheers from France. Would you like me to go?
Oh, boy.
I can wrap it up really quickly.
Go ahead.
All right. Here's what I think about raw foodism. And I apologize to anyone out there who is a raw foodist. You're probably going to not like me after this, but hey, that's how life is sometimes. We can't all agree on everything.
We cannot.
The world would be really dull if we did.
It would be.
This is what I think. I think eating raw food is very good for you. I think including raw foods in your diet is very good for you. I think eating a significant amount of raw food is very good for you. I do not believe that trying to become 100% raw is an admirable goal. Like, I think if that's something you want to do and you think that's healthy, fantastic. You're not killing any animals doing it. You may be killing yourself. Fantastic. Have a blast. Like, in general, that's how I feel. No one has ever given me convincing evidence about, and I don't really want any at this point. No, I mean, I would take it, but I haven't seen any about why 100% raw is in fact a viable way to be. And in fact, most people that have tried to make the argument to me have failed miserably. And in fact, they've only convinced me of one thing, and it is that they have an eating disorder. That's what 99% of the people who have tried to argue this with me, I've thought about is, this person clearly has some kind of eating disorder. That's all I can get down to. I don't mean that raw foodism is an eating disorder. I mean that the people who have tried to argue the 100% raw or like the 90% or the 87.5, is that what it is? 87.35% raw aspect of me have usually had some kind of aspect about it. And I'm not just trying to say it to marginalize what they're saying, but the focus has been on consuming things like 30 bananas a day or consuming bananas and romaine lettuce.
And that's it.
And that's it. You know,
like you can, like saying you can get all your nutrients from those two things.
Yes, which someone did say.
Yes.
So I think that those kinds of arguments are a little crazy for a lot of reasons. I never could. I love bananas. I mean, God forbid I diss the banana. I love bananas, but I can eat maybe 2, 3 a day at the most. Most days I eat 1. Okay. Oranges, however, I could eat.
You eat them like they're going out of style, man.
Well, okay, look, we live in northern New York. When was the last time you saw the sun? I'm fighting off the scurvy, love.
I know.
I am. I feel like I'm on a fucking pirate boat. And I don't mean like a Somalian pirate boat. I feel like I'm on a pirate ship in 1602 crossing the fucking ocean. Like we barely ever go outside in the winter. And so my body, it just kicks in. It's like vitamin C. And I have to have it. I have to have my vitamins. So I just eat oranges like you would not believe. Anyway, to get to the point, I think I even think that you could be 100% raw. And I think you're probably, if you eat a wide enough variety of foods, it's probably fine.
Probably.
You know? I mean,
if you have the time.
Sure. I have no reason to believe that eating a completely raw diet is bad for you if you're wise and if you're careful enough to get the things you need to eat. So let me be clear. I think you can go 100% raw if you live somewhere where that's possible, where you can get food that's good enough. And if you have
the time to dehydrate and sprout and do all that kind of stuff to make sure you're getting all the right nutrients.
Sure. Right. I think that's fine. But I think I do think though, a lot of the raw food stuff is like new age, hoo-ha, crazy, like channel earth energies type shit that I think is a little out there. Like the enzyme stuff. I mean, seriously, like enzymes and life force and life enzymes and all that shit. Like really? No one's ever really given me a convincing explanation about that. I don't buy that crap. So I think eating raw food is good for you because there are certain nutrients that are more available in raw food, certain nutrients that are more available when things are cooked.
Yep.
But there are certain nutrients that are available in raw food. I'm not a nutritionist, but I've not really seen, tons of compelling evidence about enzymes and all that new age hoo-ha that a lot of people use to justify going 100% raw. So look, if you're raw, fantastic, good for you. You like it, you feel good, excellent. But a lot of the raw foodists I've seen, and again, this is a wrong way to judge it, but anecdotally speaking, I've met people who are 100% raw,
Or like 80 to 100%, yeah.
Yeah, well, 83.75 to 100% raw. And a lot of them tend to look really unhealthy to me. Like they just look really sullen and not good.
Yeah.
Okay, I know a lot of you have probably, someone who allegedly has been raw for 50 years and, I don't know, they shit gold and, I don't know, cry unicorn tears. I have no clue, right? Maybe they've transformed the world through their consciousness. I have no clue, right? They're fantastic people. Great, wonderful, good for you. I think a lot of it tends to be very new agey, hoo-ha, crazy, weird, whatever. So if you like it, good for you. Fantastic. All right. Snowboard Bunny. Arthur Blake says, yay, new podcast, would like to hear all about your move and your new location and how happy you are to be out of rural America. Well, I think we've covered how happy you are to be out of rural America. Our new location is in Philly, and we're thrilled about our move. So we're going to be happy to be in the city again. And, I'm a 215 kind of guy. So I'm just really not into the suburbs, Never have been, never will be. I'm a 215 kind of guy. Let's see. Snowboard Bunny says, will your show still be funny now that you won't have four-wheelers and snowmobiles to yell at?
Oh, I'm sure we'll have plenty of other things to yell at.
I'm sure we will. I don't know if she wants me to read her PS or not, so I won't.
Okay.
Anyway.
The surprising thing is the street that we're moving to will probably be quieter than where we live now.
It almost certainly will be quieter.
There's an elementary school near where we live, so once a day we might get the kid noise, but
who cares?
Who cares? That's tolerable.
Emulate the kids. Just kidding.
And all the dogs will then bark at them for 10 minutes.
Nah, it'll be fine. I do think it'll be quieter where we live. I think I'm looking forward to the guys, with the Camaros and the 80s hair metal blaring from them. The other day, I was just overcome by this desire to have this master mix of 80s hair metal pop hits, and I can't explain why. I was overcome by it. The spirit moved me, and I got this list together, and it's amazing. I really like it. Don't you?
It's awesome.
Although yesterday I was running around singing Rat. Okay, so that's bad. That can be very bad. A, I can't sing, and B, it's Rat.
Yeah.
All right. What else? What else do we have here? Let's see. Mark Love says, related to this.
What if a monkey made you a sandwich? Would you eat it then?
Mark says, Mark Love, if a monkey sent you a question before 6 p.m., would you accept it? Because we always tell people to send us questions at 6.
At 6.
Or whatever the time, X time. And I even included a link this time to a place where you go and check compared to your time zone. So we sometimes get questions prior. Okay. But yes, we would accept it. And assuming no animals were harmed. Let's see. There's just way too many of these things. We really do have to get through to the end of this. I can't answer every single one. There's just way too many. Okay. No says, this is probably asked too often when I'm asked, why are you vegan? I either open my mouth and nothing comes out, talk way too much in too much detail about the exact conditions and reasons why, such that they are just overloaded with facts, or just end up sounding eccentric. Do you have any simple, succinct, stock answers so that I don't overload and confuse people?
Honestly, it depends on the situation.
I agree.
It depends on who you're talking to and why they're asking. So I don't really have a simple, succinct answer because I don't always use the same answer. I mean, sometimes I give just a simple answer for ethical reasons, and that's it. Because I don't want to talk about it, because I'm at a business dinner, or because, things like that where it's just not the place. So, or over food. Other times it's a little bit more involved. Don't like the way you go a little bit more into the, the whole, don't like the way animals treated, that kind of thing. So it really depends on who you're talking to.
I think so too.
And if they're hostile or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think if someone's hostile, it's a different approach.
I think a lot of times that question is curiosity.
I think so too.
But so it depends.
Yeah, I don't really have, I mean, insofar as we have any succinct answers, and I'm not just saying this is a sell book, but seriously, they're in our book.
Right.
And because I can't, of course, think of any off the top of my head right now.
Yeah,
I'm certain to, whatever.
Well, I mean, plus, the more you're vegan, the more you're asked, the more you get practice at it too.
I think so too.
So it'll become more natural.
Yep. I usually try to just keep it succinct, and I try to say things that are directly about why I'm vegan, which has to do with animals. Mm-hmm. So I don't like to say it's why it's the way they're treated, because
well, yeah, because then you get the happy meat thing, yeah.
Right, and it isn't just about the way they're treated for me. So I tend to do that. I also think that well, I don't know. It just depends. I don't really have like a stock answer that I memorized, So, well, anyway, there are a lot of ways to go about it, but I suggest it might be worth your time sitting down, writing up a couple things and thinking about it. And then that way you've already structured it in your head and you could say it in ways that make sense to you rather than in ways that we're kind of feeding to you, Okay, last couple, and then we are going to call this show quits. Lyndall Greensdale, I hope I got that, says, hi from Brisbane, Australia. One hand clapping here from the forums, wanting you to know that you guys are our vegan lifeline.
Aw.
Well, thank you very much. Cool. I think I'm beyond the window here, but whatever. Cable Ninja says, fuck, I missed the window to tweet a question. Asking anyways, know of any good organizations to volunteer for? No. Sarah Perry says, damn, just got home from the one day I didn't sit on Twitter all fucking day at work. Oh well, can't wait for the show. Nicola O'Brien says, fantastic. So, and 2 people are asking me to plug a podcast that I know nothing about and so will not say a word about. So in general, I won't plug anything until I have some familiarity with it, and particularly podcasts where I like to see someone doing 10 or 15 of them before I even mention it.
Sure.
And I also like to hear what the podcast is about, because for all I know, the podcast could say, I think you should go fuck animals in the ass or something, ridiculous. I doubt it does. It's probably a good podcast. I mean, no offense to anyone, but I like to know what things are about before I plug them. So
good idea.
That's generally how I operate. So thank you for all those Twitters, tweets, whatever the hell you call them. I hope, we got a bunch of them. We couldn't get all of them. That's how things go. So that is our show for this week.
Awesome. We'll be talking to you next from our new Elite Fortress of Moral Superiority.
That is right. We will next be coming to you from the Illadelph, Philadelphia, Philly, Philadelphia, Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. The place where we're going to eat too many vegan cheesesteaks, too much vegan Chinese food, and probably become portly. So, we'll have to get, we'll have to just get up off our butts and do a lot more running.
We will.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
So Twitter, I'm Vegan Freak. Jenna is Pleather, which is very kinky. Stop by our website. We have a new design, veganfreak.com. At our RSS feed. Go find us on Facebook. I'm on there. Jenna's on there. Our little group. We have a vegan free group that was set up by Merton Hippie. We have forums on there. You can become a fan of our book. You become a fan of our show. You can find us on Last FM. We're all over that fucking social media shit like a goddamn disease, okay? New subscription options in June. If you want to subscribe, go to our website, veganfreakradio.com. Left-hand side of the page, there's a little sign-up thing. We might wait till June, but if you get tired of waiting for us in the interim, you can get all of our shows there and go listen to back episodes if you're bored.
Right.
So
people in the forums will yell at us if we don't mention Podcast Alley. Please go vote for us at Podcast Alley.
Indeed. Vote for us at Podcast Alley, because a lot of people find our show through there.
They do.
And actually, a lot of omnivores find our show through there and have become vegan because of it.
Yes.
It's very strange to me. I don't understand how an omnivore could ever put up listening to the show, but they do. So, with all that said, I'm losing my voice, and mole stinks, and I need some water, and we'll see you in like a month.
Bye.
Whoops. And I fucked the button up. Go, hurry up, go.
Bye.
We no longer enslave animals for food purposes.